Have you ever noticed how the way we look at life can change everything? Sometimes we spend so much time focusing on what's missing, on what didn't work out, that we forget to notice the little things we already have. Gratitude, in many ways, seems simple, but it can transform even the hardest days. But what about you? When things don't go as planned, where does your heart rest? It's easy to be thankful when everything is going well, when plans unfold smoothly, when there is abundance. But what about during difficult moments? Can you find something to be grateful for, even if it's small? Gratitude isn't just a reaction to good things happening. It's a choice, a shift in perspective. And when we choose to be grateful, something within us begins to change. Gratitude doesn't just transform what we see, it transforms who we are. Gratitude, it seems simple, but so often it's something we set aside, isn't it? Amid challenges, worries, and the fast pace of life, it's easy to focus on what's missing, on what went wrong, on what could have been different. But the more we fixate on what's lacking, the less we see what we already have. I remember someone I knew who lived in that space. He was always complaining. Always. If it rained, it was bad because he couldn't go outside. If it was sunny, it was too hot. If he got a raise, it wasn't enough. To him, everything was God's fault. He would say, "I do everything right, and God still tests me, still gives me a hard life." But from the outside, what I saw was someone who couldn't see the small blessings in everyday life. Everything felt heavy to him, and it left him constantly frustrated. On the other hand, there was an older woman in my community who had the habit of starting every conversation by saying, "Today, I'm grateful for." Even when things were hard, she would find something to be thankful for. The sun shining in the morning, the health to get through the day, even the water she drank. Her gratitude wasn't forced. She genuinely believed what she said. And you know what was amazing? Her life had its share of challenges, just like anyone else's. But somehow, she lived with a peace that inspired everyone around her. It was as if her gratitude opened doors, not because she expected something in return, but because she recognized what she already had. It makes me wonder, how are we choosing to look at life? Are we focusing on what's missing or on what we have? The Bible reminds us of the importance of gratitude in many places. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18 it says, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." In all circumstances, even the hard ones. This doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about finding, even on cloudy days, something that reminds us that God is present. Think of Jesus, for example. At the Last Supper, before being betrayed, he took the bread, gave thanks, and broke it. He knew what was coming. He knew the pain and suffering ahead, but he chose to give thanks. That's powerful, because it shows that gratitude isn't about circumstances. It's about choice. And maybe you're thinking, but how can I be thankful when everything is so hard? When I feel like there's nothing to be grateful for? I understand. I've been there too. But I've learned that sometimes gratitude starts with something small. It could be a ray of sunlight streaming through the window, the hug of someone you love, or even the simple fact that you're here, alive. Gratitude doesn't have to be grand. It starts small, and when you nurture it, it grows. It's like planting a seed in your heart. At first it seems small, almost insignificant, but over time it blooms, and you realize that what matters isn't what you have, but how you choose to see it. And when we choose gratitude, we start to see things differently. It doesn't solve all our problems, but it changes how we handle them. It's as if gratitude places our feet on solid ground, while the rest of the world feels like it's sinking. Maybe life isn't what you'd hoped for right now. Maybe there are challenges, worries, or wounds that seem hard to heal. But I want to encourage you to try something. Look around. Find something, no matter how small, that you can be grateful for. And when you do, hold on to it in your heart. Because gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. And when you choose to be grateful, no matter what's happening around you, something inside you begins to change. It's not about ignoring difficulties, but about finding, even in the hardest days, a reason to give thanks. And when you do, you'll realize that gratitude doesn't just change your perspective, it changes you. Gratitude is like a window that we open to see life in a different light. Sometimes that window is right there, waiting to be opened. But we're so focused on what's missing or what's hurting us that we don't even notice it. If I could encourage you to take one small step today, it would be this. Find something, no matter how small, to be grateful for. It might seem silly, simple, but start small. Maybe it's the warm cup of coffee in the morning, the smile of someone you love, or even the simple fact that you can take a deep breath right now. It doesn't have to be extraordinary. Just look around and ask yourself, what do I have today that I can be thankful for? Take a piece of paper and write, I'm grateful for. Finish the sentence, just one thing, and tomorrow, try again. At first it might feel hard, it might even feel like you're forcing it, but over time, you'll realize that gratitude isn't about creating something new. It's about uncovering what was already there, waiting to be noticed. Because so often, we spend so much time complaining or focusing on what we don't have, that we forget to see what we do. Practicing gratitude invites us to change that focus. It's not about ignoring difficulties, but about finding, even in the midst of them, something to be thankful for. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. Gratitude starts small, but has the power to transform the way you see the world. Not because everything around you will change instantly, but because you will start to change. So today, take that small step. Find something simple and be thankful. It doesn't have to be perfect, just start. And watch how it begins to transform not just your day, but your heart. Today, did you complain more or give thanks more? Take a moment to think about it. Sometimes, we don't even realize it, but our words and thoughts reflect how we feel inside. And this affects everything: our perspective, our actions, and even the way we face challenges. Gratitude, on the other hand, has the power to change that dynamic. When we choose to be thankful, even for small things, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have. And this shift isn't just about what we see around us, it's about who we are becoming. Complaining keeps us stuck. It makes us bitter and, over time, robs us of the peace we so desperately seek. Gratitude, however, sets us free. It makes room for joy, for hope, and most importantly, for God's presence in our lives. So today, make that choice. Pay attention to your words, your thoughts. When you feel like complaining, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is there something here I can be thankful for? That small pause can transform not just your day, but how you approach life itself. Remember, gratitude isn't about ignoring problems. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of them, there are reasons to give thanks. As it says in Psalm 136:1, give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His love endures forever. Choose to be grateful. Because when we do, we realize that even on the hardest days, there's always something worth thanking God for. And in that space of gratitude, we find the peace we've been searching for.